Hello Hastings, welcome to the High School Auditorium. I'm Tom Wright, and the reason we're here in the High School Auditorium is to talk to these two gentlemen about a major transition going on in the choir department here at the high school. After 33 years, this man right here beside me, Mr. Lin Warren, is retiring as the choir director for the program. And then guess what? This guy beside him, Mr. Luke Warren, his son, has been hired to take over. And so we're here to talk to these two about the big transition and all the news behind it. And so I want to, first of all, thank you both for doing this and coming in and sharing your stories.
Our pleasure.
Lynn, let's start with you on this decision. It's a big decision. Take us back in time. Was this something that you thought you planned for many years? You know, 2017 is going to be it, or did you have a moment in the last year or two?
No, with our teacher's retirement, if you were hired before 1989, you can retire under the rule of 90, which is your years of experience added to your age, and then you get to retire with fairly full benefits. And so I reached my rule of 90 this year. So I've known for a couple years that probably this was going to be my last year, and I knew it was the right time.
You know it's the right time. Let's talk to you, Luke, on this. When your dad told you that he was going to retire, what was your reaction to that? Were you surprised?
No, not really. I mean, I think it's been something in our family that we've sort of known was coming down the pipe, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I think, I mean, there wasn't a ton of discussion about it, but enough that I was pretty, at least over the last couple of years, pretty aware that this was sort of the timeline for him to retire.
I see. And so how did this last year go for you? Did it go a little bit faster than usual or a little slower?
It went very, very fast.
Yeah.
And everyone has always said that the time's just going to fly, and I was like, yeah, right. But it really has, and now it's come to the end, and it was a great ride, and this year was just amazing in every way. And so it was a perfect year to end on.
It was a long ride, 33 years. What kept you here in Hastings, and what kept you doing this as a choir director in Hastings High School for 33 years?
Well, I've always felt it was a good fit, and I mean, along the line, you know, you always kind of reach a point in any career. It's like, is there something else out there for me? And so I explored the different options, and I interviewed at a couple places, but I always came back to the fact that this was my home, and I felt super comfortable here, and I built a program that I loved and I cared about, and I didn't really want to leave. So I just kept going on, and then before I know it, here it's 33 years later.
Wow. Luke, let's go back to you on working with your dad here and getting to know you more. Let's hear your story on since you graduated, because you grew up in Hastings and graduated,
Yep.
Correct? Catch us up. What did you do after high school?
So I went to St. Olaf College, got my Bachelor of Music degree in music education at St. Olaf for 4 years, graduated there in 2007. And did that with the full intent of wanting to be a choir director, particularly a high school, work with high school kids. So yeah, after I graduated, I did my student teaching and so on and so forth. But then I moved to Iowa for a year to lead a program in Sioux City. Then the year after that, came back, worked at Champlain Park for a year, one of the bigger high schools in the Twin Cities. And then I've been in St. Francis, teaching at St. Francis High School for the last 7 years. So, yeah.
Wow. And so when the news came out your dad was retiring, was it an immediate, like, I think I'm going to go for this? Or tell us about that.
Oh, boy. I think initially, maybe 5 years ago, that I would say if somebody would have asked me, are you gonna apply for his job when he retires, I probably actually would have said no. I can at times be a little bit strong-willed and always wanted to sort of forge my own path, and that was always something that was really important to me. And I think after sort of doing some soul searching and realizing what this program meant to me, what it's meant to my family, what it's meant, to so many people, I thought it would definitely be worth at least throwing my hat in the ring. And as the time got closer and this became more of a reality, I certainly decided I was up for the challenge and was something that I wanted to really pursue.
And what was your reaction to that?
Well, we really never discussed it. And
No.
that was intentional on my part because I didn't want him to feel obligated because I know him pretty well, and he's always wanted to do his own thing, and he does it well. So I didn't want him to feel obligated or felt like it was something I definitely wanted him to do. I wanted him to do it because he wanted to do it.
But we really did never talk about it.
We really didn't.
We never, like, there were a few conversations without actual finished sentences that took place here and there, and that was the extent of it.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think that's good because I think this program is such a huge thing. You know, for someone to take charge of it, you got to want to be here, and you got to want to do that. And so I was able to meet that and reach that by myself, which I think is healthy for everything.
Yes, and tell us about, I'm sure many are curious about the hiring process for this. How did that go for you? What did you go through to make it?
Yeah, I mean, it was a really great process, incredibly professional, and incredibly comprehensive. We had to submit a teaching video in addition to all of our standard resume, that kind of stuff. And then the interview process, and Mr. Johnson was just great with so much stuff. I know he met with each of the interview candidates to do sort of a pre-interview, walked us around the building, shared stuff about the school, about his vision for what this school stands for and what he wants it to continue to be. And then the interview was great. It was a lovely conversation about teaching and about what's best for kids, and that all of that together made this process just awesome and made me feel really excited about the potential of being here.
Well, let's talk about the potential in the future here at the choir department. What can Hastings expect from you and the choir department in the future here? What will stay the same, perhaps, and what will be different?
Boy, I've always believed that there's two big pennants that this program stands for, and I think the first is excellence, and I think the second is inclusivity, and making sure that anyone who wants a place to sing has a place to sing. Anybody who wants to be involved in music gets that opportunity. And I think being able to sort of maintain those pillars and let that continue to be the foundation is one of the reasons that I'm here. It's really important to me. So in terms of that, I think that's gonna remain the same, because that's what this is all about. It's about doing what's best for kids, and giving kids the best possible experience wherever it is that they come to meet us in the choir room, whether they're the most enthusiastic kid or they're just coming in sort of feeling it out. My job as a teacher is to welcome all of those people and put out for them the very best thing that they can accomplish. In terms of what's going to change, we'll see. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
I guess
I like
it's. I have a lot to observe. I have a lot to just take in. I have two incredible colleagues in the choral department who are certainly going to help me. With the transition, and I have this guy here to lean on every once in a while. But yeah, I mean, what's going to change? We'll see. It'll be based on what's best for kids. Truthfully, we're going to find things that are working well. We're going to do those things, and we're going to find things that could be better on behalf of kids, and we're going to make them better so that kids can have the best experience that they possibly can.
And back to you, Mr. Warren. What advice have you shared? If you haven't shared already, maybe we could share it right here. We have a father-son moment. But what advice do you have for Luke as he takes over?
Well, the good news is he won't have the major administrative piece of this, so which it was becoming all-encompassing. And so he will just be able to run his program instead of kind of maintain everyone else's. So that would be my biggest piece of advice. As far as musical advice, he doesn't need any of my advice. He's got incredible musical chops, and I've watched him teach students. He also doesn't need any help there. So the one thing that I admire about Luke and a lot of the young teachers is they have a better sense of life-work balance. And maintaining that, I think, in a program this large and this busy is a huge challenge. So That would be my advice to him. I never learned that. So this job absorbed me, and it has for 33 years.
Well, let's talk about the last 33 years. Let's go back to you and reflect a little bit, spend some time on that. What memories stand out to you when you look back on the 33 years here? What are you going to miss?
Well, I've said this over and over, just my day-to-day interaction with the students, because I love teaching high school students. They've kind of kept me young and fresh, and also just watching their talent grow and develop. You know, when they come as freshmen, it's pretty raw, and they have so far to go, but they're so eager to learn and love that part, you know, and just the teaching of lessons and working with the choirs and taking something in its infancy and developing it into something great. I'm going to miss that. I will have that opportunity with, well, Our Savior's Lutheran Church is my church choir, so I'll keep working with them. It's a little bit different animal there. They're already pretty well established, and but nevertheless, it'll keep my hand in the choral world and working with the choir. And but the thing I won't miss probably is the weekends, weekend after weekend, and working nights every night, and getting home late and getting up the next morning and feeling already exhausted. That was part of the reason I was starting to lose my energy, and the students deserve better than that. So I knew that was my signal that it was probably time.
Well, you know, all that energy definitely produced some success. I mean, you guys have a lot of trophies. I've seen so many pictures of you guys holding your trophies all over, and and that leads to the question: what were the keys to success? Why do you feel you guys were so successful over the years?
Focusing in on excellence, good singing, and keeping it student focused. I really think, because if the students know that you're there for them, first and foremost, they will work for you. And we see in a lot of these programs, and I don't know if Luke will agree or not, that isn't the focus. The focus is winning the biggest trophy. And
Totally.
And ultimately, that can be an outcome of being student focused, but it shouldn't be the end all.
I see.
And so you can experience success in a lot of different ways without a giant trophy. And I mean, we've been really successful, and we have brought a lot of big trophies back. But when they leave, they don't really remember the size of the trophy. They remember the experience.
Well, I know they're not the focus, but where are all those trophies? I'm sure you got to brand out a room here. Are they in a storage
Good.
shed somewhere?
We would need like an addition to the school.
Yeah, no kidding.
I donate them a lot.
Oh, okay.
And there's a company that would take old trophies and repurpose them.
Okay.
And we've donated quite a few to special services because they give out trophies. Some of them are way too large, you know.
Yeah, there's like, yeah.
They're ginormous.
Sizes, yeah.
Some of them we had to take apart to get in the bus. I mean, really? Because they wouldn't fit around the curve. But
They make quite a hood ornament. You know, you can fix it on the front there.
So they kind of get recycled every year, and keep the national ones, and it's going to be up to Luke what he wants to do with them.
Sure. Another thing I want to touch on in reflection is you guys have worked with each other. I mean, Luke as a student, and so I'm curious to hear how that went. You know, you having your son in the program, and then from you, Luke, with your father being the choir director. Let's go back to you. We can hear from you first on that.
Yeah,
one.
I mean, I've thought about that a lot, and I mean, I certainly have lots of memories. It was never a weird situation. Also because my mom's in the middle school, so really as early for me as 6th grade, I just had a parent in the school building. And truthfully, I had a lot of my friends also. Their parents were teachers too. So for me, it was never weird. It was never anything other than, yeah, that's my dad. He is the choir director,
Yeah.
and and I think because so many of my friends, when we were at my house, and I mean, everybody just kind of got to know each other. We all just got comfortable with each other, and kind of, I think most of the time they figured the ins and outs of it. We didn't always succeed as students with that, but as high school students can do. But
yeah.
it was great. It was fun to be a part of it, and I think it was certainly it was special to have both my parents teaching me through 6th to 12th grade, and it was, yeah, it was. I have nothing but wonderful things to say about the experience.
Well, perhaps we'll see if Dad does.
He was really easy. I will admit, though, as a dad and a choir director, I would often prepare him for auditions for honor choirs, national, divisional, that kind of thing. And it got a little tense occasionally. Because
It's true.
I knew what he was capable of, and sometimes he just didn't meet those expectations. So
I did then.
we had
eventually meet
a
the
few
expectations.
battles, a few tears.
We had some battles. We had, particularly as I got older and a little more headstrong. There was some interesting one-on-one battles over scholarship auditions and things like that. But you know what? It all worked out, and the work ethic and the process of it netted what we needed to net. So
There you go. Wow. So what's next for you? What are you going to stay busy with all that? What are you going to fill your free time with now?
Well, I have been a real estate agent, and I'm with Wasota Real Estate in town, and so I'll continue to do that. Really enjoy that job, and as I said before, I'll continue to direct the choir at Our Saviors, and that's a wonderful ensemble, about 40 to 50 singers, and it's a great gig. And then the tour company that we have toured with for the past, I don't know, I was trying to figure that out, probably. I don't know, 20 years.
Yep.
It's called Gateway, and they focus it on music groups, bands, choirs, and orchestras, and tour all over the world. And so they've hired me to do some sales for them and manage tours. Meaning I'll go in a couple days in advance of the tour, make sure everything's all set up, meet them at the airport, run the tour, performances, hotels, all that kind of thing. Get them on the plane, head back, pay the bills, and then I come home. So there'll be some traveling involved, and I'm already contracted to judge quite a bit. Now that I'm not with my own group, I'm free now to judge. I just have to be really careful that I'm not judging where Hastings High School is at.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of holding off saying a definite yes to anyone until I find out where they're going, so because that would be somewhat awkward.
I see. Yeah, you can understand that. Wow. Finally, would you happen to have a message for Hastings, those watching now, perhaps the community, the past students, current students? Would you have a message you'd like to say?
Well, first of all, to that incredible retirement celebration that I got to see students that I hadn't seen for 30 some years. It was an incredible day, and to watch Luke conduct the choir, and I got to be able to conduct them as well. And it's just, when I think back to when I first started in 1984, how the community has changed, and the focus, and it has a lot to do with administration focusing on academics, arts, and athletics is three equal things and all important. And it just makes me really happy to see that the support of the arts continues. And particularly as I look down on 2nd Street with the Art Space Lofts and then the Hastings Arts Center and all those things that just continue to flourish and become a really integral part of our community. It's just nice to know that I think we're on good hands, that this community is going to continue to support the arts. And consequently, that will help the program at the high school as well.
Totally.
Great. Well, congratulations to you both. Congratulations on your decision to retire, and
Thanks.
we wish you the best. And Luke, congratulations on your hire. It's a huge opportunity.
Thank you.
Sounds like a perfect fit for the program. I'm sure many people are excited to see you get that job. So thank you both again for coming in and doing the interview too.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you folks at home for joining us on this interview. The big transition for the Hastings Choir Department, Mr. Lin Warren leaving after 33 years and his son Luke taking over. We'll see you next time.